Have you ever had one of those moments of just pure, incredible joy, and you stop and think, what did I do to deserve this? Or, on the flip side, you're facing something so tough it just makes you question everything. Well, moments like those, they always lead back to one of the biggest questions we can ask. Is our story already written? And today we're going to dive deep into that very idea. This is a thought that can be incredibly comforting and also kind of terrifying, right? If the script is already finished, what role am I actually playing here? Am I just an actor reading lines that were handed to me, or am I really the author of my own journey? And that brings us to that really personal, gut-wrenching question we all ask when things get tough, or even when we're blessed beyond belief. Why me? Why this struggle? Why this success? Well, to even begin to find the answer, we have to go back, way, way back. So, to understand your story, we actually have to talk about the story that came before it. A story that doesn't start with your parents or your grandparents, but with the very first act of cosmic recording. I want you to just picture this for a second. A time when there was only God. No sky, no earth, no angels, not a single person. And in this primordial emptiness, 50,000 years before anything we know even existed, the very first thing to be created was a pen. So what happened next? Well, this incredible cosmic conversation happens. God commands the pen, write. And the pen, in turn, asks, my Lord, what is it that I should write? And the answer was so simple. But it covered, well, everything. Write it all. Every event, every life, every single moment, right up until the very end of time. And where did all of this writing go? It was recorded on something called al-Law al-Mahfud, which means the preserved tablet. Now, the sources paint this picture of a magnificent tablet made from red ruby, basically a divine archive that holds the complete story of everything. And what's on this tablet is just staggering. I mean, it's not just the big stuff, the rise and fall of empires, the stories of famous heroes and villains. It's also the personal stories. Every little moment you might think is insignificant, every single emotion you've ever felt. And here's the really amazing part. Inside this vast record, there's a special chapter with your name on it, detailing all the precious moments that make up your one-of-a-kind life. So let's zoom in from that massive cosmic scale to something incredibly personal. Because long before you were born into this world, you existed. We all did. And we all had a very first meeting with our Creator. In this realm of pre-existence, every single human soul that would ever live was brought into being. The sources describe us as tiny particles, all gathered together in a place called the Valley of Naaman, which is also known as Arafah. Can you just imagine that? A gathering not of a few million people, we're talking every single human being, past, present, and future, all in one place at one time. And in that immense gathering, God spoke directly to every single one of us. And he asked one profound question. Alastu bi rabbikum? Am I not your Lord? This was literally the very first conversation you ever had. And this is where you see this incredible, beautiful symmetry. The very first question we were ever asked before we were born echoes the very first question we'll be asked in the grave after we die. Who is your Lord? It's like our entire existence is framed by this one fundamental question. Now, obviously, none of us consciously remember this happening, but its impact, they say, is hardwired into our very souls. This original promise is what creates that natural pull towards the divine, that feeling so many of us have that there's just got to be something more to life. But the story doesn't end there. After this promise was made, something else happened. God cast his light on all of creation, and every single soul received a piece of it. And this wasn't just any light. This was the light of your innate goodness. But here's the thing. Not everyone got the same amount. Some souls just shone brighter than others. The story goes that Adam, the first man, was walking through this incredible gathering and was just blown away by the brilliant light coming from one particular soul. He asked, "My Lord, who is this?" And God told him, "This is your son Dawood, or David." And his light was so bright because of the life of incredible gratitude he was destined to live. It really makes you look at this chart and wonder, doesn't it? How much light was on your forehead that day? This light acts kind of like your spiritual fingerprint, and it might just explain why sometimes you meet someone and feel this instant, deep connection you can't explain. The source describes souls as being like conscripted soldiers, those who are alike, who have a similar light, they're just naturally drawn to each other, recognizing something familiar even before they've ever met in this world. Okay, so all of this brings us to the big one, the real paradox at the heart of it all. If everything, from who we're going to be to who we're going to meet, is already written down, then what's the point of our choices? This is the great debate, fate versus free will. There's this really powerful saying that just gets right to the heart of it. The pens have dried with the knowledge of Allah. The idea is that everything has already been recorded based on God's perfect, all-encompassing knowledge. So does that mean we have no say in the matter at all? Well, not exactly. It turns out the whole concept is layered. Think of it this way. First, you've got the master plan on that preserved tablet. That's set in stone. It never changes. But then you have other, let's call them changeable records, that can be altered by things like your prayers and your good deeds. And here's the mind-blowing part. God's perfect knowledge, the one that makes up the master plan, already took into account every prayer you were going to make and every choice that would lead to those changes. It's not a contradiction. It's just a reflection of perfect foresight. So what this really means is that the book of your life isn't a script you were forced to follow. Instead, it's a perfect record of the choices you freely make. God knowing what you were going to choose doesn't take away your choice. It just confirms it. He knew with absolute certainty how you would decide to live your life, and that is what got written down. So what does this all mean for us, living our lives right here, right now? With this kind of understanding, how are we supposed to approach our days? The point, then, isn't to try and outrun some fate that's chasing you. It's to embrace the journey. The idea is to fully live through all the unknown chapters that are ahead of you, making your choices, feeling your moments, and seeing your unique story unfold. And as you go through life with all of its incredible highs and its really tough lows, the hope is that you'll eventually start to see the wisdom in how your story was put together. That even in the moments that completely surprise you, or in the chapters that are really hard to get through, you'll find that Allah always knows best. Which brings us all the way back to the ultimate question. If your story is this unique, necessary chapter in a grand cosmic narrative, what is its purpose? Why, out of all of eternity, was this the moment chosen for your soul to be on this earth? That, right there, is the question to live with. Thanks for watching.